It's going to be a penalty shootout to find out who the final quarter-finalists at the 2018 World Cup will be. England's fourth World Cup shootout. Nobody needs reminding what happened in the previous three. England are out of the World Cup. Falcao versus Pickford, Colombia versus England, and Falcao hammers it home. It's over to England. Harry Kane. That is outstanding from Kane. It's Batty, and England are out of the World Cup. I don't believe it. Imagine what it's like stepping up and taking one. When your country's hopes of staying in the World Cup are on the line. Henderson puffs out his cheeks. Henderson strides up, and it's saved by Ospina. Oh no! Advantage Colombia. Hammered into the top corner. 4 penalties taken, 3-3 in the shootout, and it is now sudden death time. Maka looks confident. Saved by Pickford. A great big hand from England's goalkeeper. What a save! Has just given Eric Dyer the chance to send England through. Think of all those years of hurt.
The England faces will just reflect sheer disappointment.
Eric Dyer to stride up to change a little bit of that for England. And Dyer does it! England win a World Cup penalty shootout for the first time ever! Maybe times are changing. This team is changing things.
Hello and welcome back to the ACSC podcast. Now on episode 23. Back to wearing a decent shirt this week. I don't know if you saw last week's episode. It's the one a lot of people, especially Adil, has been waiting for, to see me in a Spurs shirt, but that's gone. It didn't get burned, I'm ashamed, but it's now back at its rightful owner. But yes, back. We're doing a bit of a Gareth Southgate sort of episode about England. Before we jump into that subject, just round up, if you saw last week's episode, we've done a round one of predictions of our game. Adil has currently got a 5-4 lead. No correct scores. I think that's the first time it's happened for us since we started it last year. Not one of us got a correct prediction, but what can I say? So I'll quickly pass you over to the usual co-host Adil, and we'll get started.
Hello again, guys. Yeah, it's me again. So obviously the prediction started last week. Like Charles obviously has already said it already. Not a great start, but I'm obviously ahead. Obviously, the fantasy team was obviously that's up and running as well. I think Charles is doing a lot better than me on that.
A quick update of who is leading. And
I know someone had over 100 points. Someone had an incredible
Aaron
week.
Atkinson. He's currently got 107 points.
There you go.
Incredible. I'm currently down in 7th with 75. I'll take that for a first week start.
Yeah, I think I'm about 13th or 14th, I believe.
He was currently 14th with 61.
Okay.
And in last place at the moment is Oliver Thomas with 29.
Okay, well, Oliver's only got about 90 points to make up after 1 week.
Exactly. So, sorry, Oliver, but I think your 50 quid chances are gone.
But yeah, from me again, just obviously a quick thank you as well. 22 episodes, 23 now. As I've already mentioned before, it's getting more stretched and stretched, but we are doing our absolute best to get in the episodes. And we'll just keep the content keep coming, to be honest. We still enjoy doing these.
Exactly.
We're getting the views, we're getting the numbers. So obviously you guys still like watching it and listening to our obviously views and stuff as well, which is really nice. But yeah, from me, it's a massive thank you. And I think we'll dive straight into the episode.
Of course, and I'll just touch on a bit there. I think what you said there is we're enjoying doing this as much. And I think if you guys probably haven't seen the news, it looks like we are probably heading into another lockdown situation. I think this is something that keeps us happy, keeps us going, and we hope we can sort of help you guys in any way with our hope we end up talking. But like I said, we'll get into the episode. So we'll sort of talk about England. We've sort of touched on it, I'd say, the last 2 or 3 episodes, right, with our opinions of England. And I think we've done an Instagram live a few weeks ago, sort of talking about our thoughts of retro and such. But it's such a hot topic at the moment with Gareth Southgate. And is Gareth Southgate the one anymore? Because My personal opinion, I don't know. It's hard. I think a lot of people are going, obviously, watching the last game. I don't think you watched it, but the 0-0
No,
was.
I didn't. I'm glad I didn't.
No, and I think it is. You go back to what England was saying. We've been such a good attacking talent for the last 2-3 years.
Yeah.
Go into a game where 0-0, it's like we're going backwards under Southgate at the moment.
Yeah. I think first of all, I'd like to give a lot of credit to Gareth Southgate, and I think obviously coming in, no one. Let's be honest. I don't think there was anyone that was really optimistic and happy about the appointment.
No.
Had a fantastic World Cup, but I feel like that great World Cup showing is like a, what's that saying when he's probably done too good for himself and then it's like a burden. I'm not sure what the saying is, but it feels like doing so well in the World Cup.
Not overachieved himself, didn't he? Really.
That's the word. Yeah, overachieved himself, effectively, if you like. Done so well. But what I've noticed, and this is an unfortunate situation, is now we have incredible young stars. Our front line, especially with the front three, I don't think there's many international teams in the world that are better than England's front three. They're all attacking youngsters who love to play with flair and a lot of skills.
Yeah.
And I do question if Gareth Southgate is the man that can get the best out of the players.
I think you agree there.
And yeah,
you look at our front line now. I don't mean just the front line, but I'd say the midfield wing side of things and the forward. Does not mean that I'll say the nation's only really is France, and I don't think it's going to be a side like France for the next 20, 30 years where they've got the amount of they've got 4 teams that are world-class potential.
Yeah, of course.
Holland are looking very good again. Germany are always going to be a good side. But if you're going by numbers, we're probably up there with the best now. And it's been a long time since you could even put us in towards that bracket. And like I said, I think the World Cup for Gareth Southgate was, in a way, a bit hard for him because now everyone had this expectation of him.
Correct, yeah.
We're going to win the Euros, and it's, I don't know, with him under control, I don't know. But
no, I think it's I actually read a report by someone, I'm not sure who it was, it might be Transfer Market, they're very good at, the Transfer Market without the E. Yeah. And I think England international players are worth are the most valuable international team in the world. Now, sorry?
That, I think it's a stigma within England. If you're an English player, your value gets tripled.
Yeah, this is what I totally agree. And this is what I found so interesting, was that it wasn't based off an English report. It was like a generalised report, which made it even more like, we're up there. I mean, obviously, I saw clips of the game. Was it Denmark, the 0-0? It was, wasn't it? And I think we edged out, was it Iceland? Yeah. And that was all because of, obviously, a missed penalty. It wasn't a great showing. I'm just starting to get a bit impatient. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I've said it clearly before as well. I am more club than country, and a lot of people disagree with that. I mean, I think, like you said, you love England, and don't get me wrong, I do love England. We do well.
I'm not more country and club, but international football is something that's got a lot more exciting. I'll say it appeals to more. I'll say the older generation is always more, but it's now starting to become a bit of a bigger thing for people our age because we're actually doing well. We've been so
exactly. And this is my point. It's always been Liverpool before England. However, they're still my country, England, and they're definitely the team I support when it comes to football and in the World Cup, and not just football, other sports. I'm always supporting England. However, I don't feel like, I personally don't think Gareth Southgate is the right man going forward. I feel like with the talent at the disposal right now, we could do with a young manager who loves playing attacking football, with brave young manager. Who can really, and I truly believe this, who can take us to a Euros win or even a World Cup win.
Of course, I think we've got the potential, and there's no denying that. I think, not being saying we're biased to England, but if you look at the generational players we've got coming through, the likes of Mason Greenwood, Jude Bellingham. Now, obviously, we've done an episode about him recently. Is he worse? He's proven it. He's gone out to Dortmund and he's scored on his debut, the youngest ever scorer. You look at these players coming through. Like you're saying now, we need a manager who's going to back them. And who would you say would be that manager?
Well, this is always an interesting one because a lot of people and a lot of international teams, they recruit managers that are of their country. And why wouldn't you? You see France is being managed by, I believe, still a Frenchman, Germany, German, etc., etc. Holland was Koeman, obviously at Barcelona now. And within our country, in terms of young English managers, and this is going to sound, it won't sound great, and it will probably come across controversial. He's not English, but I'd love to see Brendan Rodgers in charge of England. And Brendan Rodgers is a manager who, yes, sometimes his ego and the way he goes about himself doesn't always appeal to everyone.
Yeah.
However, he's done it where, came to Liverpool very close to winning the title, gone to Scotland. I know anyone could do that at Scotland, fair enough. Won everything possible there. Come to Leicester now, nearly made top four with Leicester. However, Leicester have started off well. I just feel like, and he does like to play that nice attacking brand of football.
Yeah.
A young manager who, I know he's not English, but he's British.
Yeah.
Would he take on England? Maybe not, because a lot of managers love to club jobs.
I wouldn't think he was.
However,
I think later in his career, he would like to.
I'd love to see Brendan Rodgers as a manager of England.
I think a manager everyone was very close. It was Jose Mourinho, I think, at one time. It was very interesting.
Yeah.
But I think sort of my shout is a manager we all know very well, I think, has been linked with Liverpool, maybe Eddie Howe.
Yeah, he was the other guy I was going to actually mention.
Obviously now, no longer manager of Bournemouth. No denying what he'd done for him. Took him from the levels, or I believe, was it League 2 or League 1 at the time, took him to the Premier League. Turned him to a stable club in the Premier League for many years. I think he could be an interesting shout.
Yeah.
He fits the caliber of a young manager.
He does. He definitely does.
Attacking football? I don't know. But I think he would have the ability to do it. But the other interest I'm just thinking, would someone like Frank Lampard be a good shout?
Just quickly on Mourinho as well. I think Mourinho, obviously, he's actually spoken of his love for it, managing England one day. However, if we're talking about the young players we've got, attacking style of football players we've got, that straight away for me, okay, he's a winner. Yes, he's a winner. But we contradict ourselves if we say we want to get rid of Gareth, we want to get Mourinho. It's not really work. But Eddie Howe, I fully agree with. And then you did mention about
Frank.
What did you just mention? Frank Lampard, yeah. Frank Lampard, I think he's obviously early stage of his managerial career. Yeah. Bright start, we have to say. He hasn't been an incredible start. Yes, he made top four with not a lot of pressure. So let's see how he does this season. He's got the players. I just think a manager that young with, let's be honest, relatively no experience, he will want to stay in club career for at least 5-10 years before even considering that. The one that I find very, very interesting, as you just mentioned, is Eddie Howe. And Eddie Howe, like you said, been linked with big clubs, Liverpool, Arsenal in the past, and obviously now out of a job. I actually, I'm not disagree because you didn't say he doesn't, but I think he does play attacking brand of football. And I think Bournemouth, with the players they had up there in their team, the signings he made, they tried that. Obviously, it's hard because you're at Bournemouth. You haven't got the financial muscle that the other clubs have.
He tried to play similar to how Graham Potter is trying to play at Brighton now.
Exactly that. Yeah. And Graham Potter is another name in there, actually, who I'm a big fan of. Yeah. A very astute manager who's not very, goes a bit under the radar, keeps himself to himself. He's not really in the media spotlight, and loves to play football.
I can't remember the name of that club. There was a team that beat us, wasn't they? Arsenal in the Euro, but they come very close to it or beat us?
Oh, and he managed them, didn't he?
Yes, I can't remember the name. Was it like an Icelandic?
I'll be guessing here, so I wouldn't know that team.
I think it was, but that was when he sort of popped up massively on the radar, and then obviously Brighton jumped to get it. It's an interesting. I think there's so many managers that could be linked with the job. I think the main priority if they do decide to make the FA make the decision to get rid of Gareth is you've got to get a manager in who can get the best going forward. I think you have to get a manager in that is best for the suit of lads we've got in our team. I definitely don't think Gareth Southgate will be relieved of his duties until at least after the Euros, because I think of what he done at the World Cup, he at least deserves that, and I don't think many will disagree with that. Yeah. And if he does well again in the Euros, then there's no reason to get rid of him. So he will get that. So we're not talking about a manager to come in the next 6 months, in the next not at all.
year or so. So it will be a phase thing.
Transition.
However, in terms of a long-term success that we're looking for in terms of the international stage, which we haven't had for 66. So how many years? I don't know, 50 plus years. I'm not sure if he's a long-term manager to get us that success. Another manager I'm going to chuck in there, let's see what you think about him, is Chris Wilder.
Yeah.
What do you make of that one?
Do you see him leaving Sheffield though?
I think if England came calling in a couple of years' time, and by then he would have been at Sheffield United for a few years. There's only so far you can take Sheffield United, because let's be honest, you can't really get them to Europe.
No.
He absolutely loves Sheffield United. He loves his club,
I think
no doubt about it.
It will be a thing to me, is I can't see him leaving the same way Eddie Howe would leave Bournemouth. You sort of become part of the framework of a club. And the only way, it's similar to how, a bit like Wenger. When you become part of the manager, you're not going to go on merit. You have to out the door.
The only thing that makes me a little bit interested on Chris Wilder, England used to play a 5-3-2. Or like a 5. They did it at the World Cup, didn't they?
World Cup, yeah.
Yeah, and it worked. I know football moves on all the time, but Sheffield United, we see the way they play.
Yeah.
Very similar to how England had their success in the World Cup. He's a very likeable guy. I think, who doesn't like Chris Wilder? Yeah. I just think you just never know. Would he be much bigger upgrade on Gareth? Probably not.
No.
But ultimately, Gareth is not going to be there forever. Let's be honest.
No, and I think another thing sort of to throw in there, if whoever does take over has to sort of have, I would say, the maturity to deal with. Obviously, it's another thing is seeing, while on international duty recently, you had the whole palaver with Mason Greenwood and Phil Foden. You need to have someone who's got the experience to guide these.
Deal with that. Yeah, of course, yeah.
These kids are young and they're being thrown in on a massive stage, of the international stage. Mason Greenwood, is he 18, 19, and Phil Foden?
Yeah, 18.
They're still in their own right. They're still kids. They're still young adults who they're not used to this level of fame.
No. And that's the main thing you said there, is that they are young, and we can't be in a situation, and we don't want to be part of what the media do a lot in our country, is straight away label them with, oh, this is not good, they're young. You got to remember they're kids. If Mason Greenwood does it again and again, and Phil Foden does it again and again, then I will start to question it. Yeah. But you do it, you learn, and you move on.
Exactly, and I think we touched on it before. Is people got to remember these are young, and you talk about the golden generation, which was meant to be Wayne Rooney and etc.
Yeah,
they're angels themselves. Everyone goes through these personal things, and it's just like life. Everyone makes mistakes, but you've got to learn.
But you've got to learn from it, and that's what I've noticed sometimes about Gareth Southgate, and again, I do question his leadership sometimes, because obviously last year you had the debacle between Joe Gomez and Raheem Sterling, and there was no real talk from the manager. I know he did send Raheem Sterling home, but I believe it was Jordan Henderson who resolved that, didn't he?
Yeah,
exactly. And Jordan Henderson is not even the captain of England, so he didn't have to do it. But why did he feel like he had to do it? And also, again, this year with Mason Greenwood and Phil Foden, Gareth again dropped them, but there was not stop messing about. Basically, there was not. I feel like, and again, and this is going to sound a bit of a disservice to Gareth Southgate, but I feel like they can do what they like with it.
Yeah.
And that is not good. Exactly. I mean, he's a great manager. Gareth Southgate is a very likable man. 100%, no doubt about it.
What you're saying there is, I think it's very different. You look at, I'll say, two clubs to me that stand out and do it differently now is obviously you under Klopp. Players know where they stand, and I think Arteta, since he's been at Arsenal, you look at the way we are. Go back 6 months ago, the difference, and it's that respect for the manager. And I think at times there's not many players who have respect for Southgate in that way.
No, and that's the worry, and that's why I think, because he's such a nice, likable man, we like him, you like him, I like him. Dave from the Chippy likes him.
Everyone likes him. I think obviously.
But the players clearly think they're bigger than him, and they are bigger than him. So that's where, because the players look, Jadon Sancho, Marcus Rashford, they're a bigger name than Gareth Southgate.
Oh yeah.
So maybe we need a big name to kind of get the best out of the players.
Yeah, I think like you're saying there is they're bigger than him is the respect though. Yeah. Sorry about the interruption there. So where we was talking about Southgate, I believe. We'll sort of just
I don't know why we completely forgot what we were talking about. It's not good at all. But
there you go. You get to sort of see the real life what we're like. We forget things like that.
Yes.
What I say now is, I think sort of the respect level of things. It's some of these players like I think the person was talking about so many managers in it. Mourinho would be a guy who wouldn't take that.
No chance.
I don't know, sort of link it in. You look at the all or nothing thing, watching the Tottenham. That's obviously now finished. I finished that last night. Everyone is such a different level, and everyone said it in that episode is when he come in, the difference in the persona, everything, it changes. And I think obviously it's a lot harder to take club football to international because you don't get 12 months and training 5 days a week. You literally get 2 weeks at a time, not even 2, sometimes 2, 1 week with your squad, and then you're away from them for a month. So you've got to try and get that all in one. But it's such a hard model to look at because you look how teams like France succeed for so long and why.
Well, I think the France thing is quite an unfair one because not unfair, but it's just they've just got so much talent and there's one after the other. It's like a 17-year-old, you think, oh, he's going to be great, and then there's one after him. There's a 16-year-old, there's a 15-year-old, there's a 14-year-old. There's so many of them.
Why don't we have the ability to do that?
Exactly. So clearly they've got a setup in France in the academies, and obviously I don't know in the national setup, which is better. It is better. We've tried grassroots, etc. But to be honest, I could open a whole can of worms on why certain things in our country doesn't work. Racism, I believe, is so relevant right now, and I feel like a lot of Southern Asian guys, like Asian-looking guys, and even black players don't always. And I'm not saying this is. I'm actually saying this from experience, from seeing it. Do not get the same level of appreciation and favoritism like an English white male may get in this country. And like I said, I don't want to open it up. This is not a whole can of worms. I don't want to open a can of worms, but it's true. And in France, maybe it's less so because you do, when that happens, you restrict yourself a lot.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
No,
but I think we can improve, and I think we should be looking to do that.
Of course, I think there's a lot we could carry on saying, but I think we've sort of covered the main ideas of what we wanted to talk about in.
Yeah, of course. But I do think Gareth will stay in charge for the foreseeable future. I actually want him to stay in charge for the foreseeable future. But in terms of long-term direction, I'm not sure.
No, and I completely agree with that. So if people do want to see us talk more about England, it's a thing. I think that there's so much we could discuss on. So
please let us know, to be honest. Yeah.
Let us know, obviously.
Yeah, and also do you want to mention about the game week 2 prediction we've just done earlier?
Game week 2, obviously this episode comes out Saturday at 6, which is our new upload time. I think if you haven't seen last week, you mentioned it last week.
Yeah.
No longer doing Friday just because of schedules. Both got new jobs now. It's trying to get back into flow and get things like that. So yes, our personal life is on the rise. It's no longer just sitting around in lockdown.
Yeah.
But episode 2 predictions are over on our Instagram now. We've done an Instagram live, just discussing really week 2 of the Premier League. Some of the transfers, obviously, big ones. It's blowing up the last few days. It's like deadline day.
Yeah, it is. It's still like a deadline day, yeah.
Player obviously going to Tottenham. Massive.
Yeah.
Thiago finally getting his You're going to see it. I'm waiting for the shirt. Liverpool 6 and about Thiago.
Yeah.
Obviously, Diego Jota now going to Liverpool. It's time, obviously. I think we've got about 2 weeks to deadline day. We'll probably do a special episode on deadline day if we can.
Oh, definitely. If we can, obviously, depending on when it is and work day, etc., but we will do our absolute best. Sorry?
I believe it's a Monday, but we'll try.
October 5th, yeah.
We'll probably do an Instagram live or something.
Instagram live for a quick Instagram will be quite nice.
Yellow ties out.
Jim White. I've got it ready. Yeah, 100%.
So we'll bring that a bit of an Instagram live. But if you haven't already, hit off our socials, which will be on the screen below there.
Fantastic. Right there, guys.
And for this week, thank you very much. And we'll see you next week.